Voice training, it's time for voice training. Voice training, train your voice so you like it. It's voice training. I'm such a pro. Business Bria here, being very businessy in my very important business office comic book reading corner with a picture of a mountain moose behind me. I need to get more art up here. It's not quite as developed as my fish planet back home, but I think this is a good place to be. As the days get longer, I'm going to be spending more time in here and hopefully more time getting things ready for you and preparing lessons and engaging with people about this. If you follow these voice lessons and you practicing and you watch the videos on YouTube, say maybe you tune in live, you can be engaging with me more on this. Maybe you're getting to a point where you're figuring some things out, but you're not sure of a few things. Sometimes getting a bit of feedback is really useful for that. And you can get that feedback from me during these lessons from here on out. I'm going to try and have a question and answer time at the end of the session for anything that people are having a hard time with, either in the session we do today or in any other session we've done so far. Just type in a question and I'll try and see if I can answer it. Thank you for coming here, Black Rose Huntress, and everyone else who's here. Thanks for engaging with this and making this feel like it matters. Like, I knew people always ask me to do this, but seeing the engagement that's happening, it makes me feel really good about it, and I want to keep doing more. Hey, thanks. I didn't see who that was. Where's my notification on that? Whatever. You've got your water, right? You're sitting somewhere comfy, right? You're, alone, or at least with people you feel comfortable making weird sounds around, right? Because that's what we're going to be doing today. I want to work a little bit on application of some of the skills that we've been doing. Nothing too fancy, but how to start moving forward with learning to speak maybe the way we want to speak. And we can talk a little bit about what are the ways we might want to speak and figuring out our voices. But before I get talking too long, it's easy for me to go off on a tangent. Let's just start getting ready here. If you're familiar with voice training, if you've been following the videos or the workouts before, you know all about diaphragmatic breathing. That's breathing with your stomach. Most importantest part of this whole deal. We always start with a little bit of that. And if you don't know what diaphragmatic breathing is or how it works, just a little refresher. I know it's a little early in the year. Happy 2020, by the way. We have this little diagram here. We breathe in through the nose. It helps us take in more air without working as hard. We expand our diaphragm as we breathe in, and then contract the diaphragm as we push the air out. I like to breathe out through the mouth when we're doing voice training because I want to, of course, be projecting air and therefore projecting my voice. So let's just do a few brief breaths. Expand. Contract. Let your tension melt away. Good. I assume I don't actually have feedback on that. Maybe you're familiar with our breath diagram. You're going to breathe in. We'll get a little break here. When that counts down, let's do the next breath together. Let that tension melt away. Settle into your spot. Let's do one more. Good stuff. Next up, if you're familiar with these lessons, you'll know I usually like to go to yawning. It's the same deal. We're pushing that air out using the stomach muscles, but making a little bit more sound with it. Because when we make sound, we tend to tighten up, and we want to be able to relax while we make sound. So just focus on moving that air, but with a bit of sound. Just like a yawn. Make it like your natural yawn. And maybe you don't make noise when you yawn, but make noise today. It's for training's purposes. There you go. Do you hear I can get that in my yawn a bit, that squeak a little bit? We're going to be working on that stuff a little bit more today. And it's not just a matter of going higher pitch, because often when we try to go higher pitch, we tighten up in ways we don't really want to do. We want to be able to stay breathy. And so when you go higher in your yawn, you want to stay relaxed in your throat, but it kind of like there's tightness in the face and here, this and I settle into the yawn. Well, you can give me one more. Okay. Let's do uptick yawns, so we're going up in pitch, but still keeping that air moving. Good. Have a little bit of water if you haven't been drinking any water yet. And if you're not used to these, if you're not sure if you're moving lots of air as you do this exercise, I recommend having your hand up for it. You can feel the air maybe dissipate as you go up. That's okay. It's natural for you to have less air as you go higher in pitch because you're tightening up. The goal is to learn to relax as you go up. Yeah. Let's try, let's put a pin in that actually. I'd like to do something else before we try the next step on this. Let's see if we can accentuate this airiness a little bit more. We're going to do non-voice. That means we're not making any sound, well, intentionally making sound, but we're just breathing out in the shape of sounds. We've done this before. You know what I'm talking about. We're going, yeah. I'm going to put my hand up for this one. So that's ha, hey, he, hi, ho. 5. I'm going to go all in one, and then you can go like this. Why don't you go? Good. Probably a little lightheaded after that. Have a sip of whatever beverage you got. I'm dual wielding. I got coffee. I got water. I'm set. You drink whatever you want to drink. Maybe not soda. It's not booze. Trust me. That's a bad mixture with this. Let's do that again. The you try. I'm going to drink a bit while you do it. Did you do it? Good. Have some water. Great job. Next, I want to move back. I want to move on to this breathy a little bit to help open this up a bit more, because the next one typically is a little more difficult. It may have already been difficult to go, but we want to learn how to come back down again. So hopefully with that previous one, you're a little more stretched out, a little more warmed up. So now we can go, I'm trying this new format of teaching this method where we're kind of breaking it up a bit. A little bit of a breath in between those two. Do you see how I'm starting somewhere, going higher, and then coming back down to the same place I started in? Try it. Try it out. You can even have your hand up. Feel that air on it. I'm going to try it again. I give myself just a teensy little bit of a breath in to regain myself. Trying to see if that helps people a little bit on this one. You able to feel a decent amount of air on your hand as you go up and back down? It's okay if you don't. A lot of this stuff, especially if you're new to this, it's just about moving you and exercising and getting you stretched out. As you do this more, as you follow along with these videos more, you will get stronger at this, and you'll notice that you have less and less air on your hand, or more and more air rather on your hand as you go higher, and it's easier and easier. Next, let's do this in its more proper form. The completed up and down without taking a breath in between. That means you should probably take a great big breath in before you do it. So next we're going. See that? I started somewhere, went up higher, went back down to where I started. You try that. Cool beans. I'll go again, and you have a sip of water while I go. With the hand up. Oh, I can notice a little bit less air at the top, but I still had some air. How about you? What do you feel? Good, good. Hopefully your throat's feeling a little more warmed up, a little looser. Let's get back to that tightness I was talking about. When you go higher in pitch, maybe you want it to be resonating up here. Loose in here, tight in here. That We've done this before in previous videos. We want to get things into our nose, so we're going to start with some Bugs Bunnies. Hear that up in your nose? Tight. You can go. I'll go. You can go. Do you hear how... Oh, sorry. Okay. Do you hear how I'm starting up here and going into down in here? That's vocal fry. That's tightness in here. That's with the grudge ghost exercise. Tightness down at the bottom of the throat. We're going... You can do that, right? It's just like tight, tight, tight in here. Listen to me again for a sec. Now I'm moving up my throat a little bit. Oh, it's more like up here. I was physically moving up in my throat where I was feeling that. The is down like in here. I go up in here. There's a little more I can hear. That's getting into my nose, and is almost pure nose. There's obviously throat involved, but there's tightness in there. I can feel it. It's pressure. So as you try and go up with anything, but especially with this kind of creaky stuff, feel it physically in your body going up. So we're going but I don't know if I teach that very frequently to people, this step-by-step going up, so I want to try that with you. Can you do it in sequence, going Try it out. See if you can get up there. I feel like what we're doing is basically a pterodactyl scream. Here, I'm gonna try and do a pterodactyl scream. Someone in chat spelled pterodactyl scream. I don't know. Screaming's really hard. That's tight in the back of the throat. By the way, if you watched last episode that I put up, that was all about playing around with your voice. Highly recommend playing around with your voice. Have fun with it. That's how you get stronger, and that's how you explore it and figure out what you want to do with it. Which is a little bit related to what I want to talk about today in terms of figuring out who you are and what voice you as a person want to have. I don't try to teach people like, oh, this is the voice you should have. These are the things you should do to sound like a girl. Let's leave that behind. But who are you? Who do you want to be? What sort of voice reflects you as a person? And this is often dealt with, for at least in how I understand voice, in an interplay between this tight, this ah, and the soft, breathy, pinchy, as people who are familiar with my lessons will know. And so as we go through these exercises, think about, are you more tight or are you more soft in terms of your personality? And how do you want that to come across? When I'm business bitch Bria, boss Bria, I tend to put a little bit more tightness into my voice. I end a little more tersely. Or if I'm trying to be softer, more welcoming, friendly, I'll put a little bit more softness, that into my voice. And then, of course, everything else I say is an interplay between the two. So as we go about this stuff, think about what sort of voice you think you would have. Going back to this, we went up in steps like this, Can we go up smoothly? People who are familiar with my lessons will know this as creaky door, where we're starting here, moving up to here, like this. Like a creaky door opening and closing. Listen again. Let's just start with the up. Try going up. If you've done this before and you know how, go down too. But I don't want to intimidate new people. Maybe this is your first time. Try it out. Besides, even if it isn't your first time, sometimes we need to warm up. I can go basically without a warm up because I've been doing this for freaking ever. But maybe you need to warm up a little more. Who knows? Try it though. I want you to try it now. How was it? Were you able to do it? Oh, great. You did great. Try and hold on to your tension, by which I mean when I go up to the top, I keep that, the tightness. It's in my abs because I'm using that diaphragm, right, to move my air. Tight in there, tight in here, and I hold it, and then I keep holding it on my way down. So, do you see my body language there? Do you see how I'm tightened up? I hold on to it. And this is not to say you should be tight all the time, you know, in your body as you speak. But in terms of training, in terms of figuring out these sounds, hold on to it. That was the secret with weightlifting. I used to be in powerlifting and stuff. You got to stay tight during those motions. That 400 pounds is going to crush you if you don't stay tight the whole way through. And your voice, your squeak, it will escape you if you don't stay tight. So when I go up, hold the tightness. Try it out. Be like an anaconda. Keep crushing. Okay. That's great and all. But remember I was talking about that interplay between hard and soft, breathy, pinchy? Well, my very most favorite exercise to do is going going up tight, releasing into breath. Not so easy. If you're familiar with this, you know we've done these before in other videos, but if you're not, don't sweat if you don't get this one. It's really hard to relax after being tight. So starting out and releasing that tension, not so easy. Try it if you haven't already. See what, I'm going to try one with my hand up, and I'm going to see if I feel that air. Oh, I did feel air at the end. You try it out. See if you can feel air after being tight going up. Yeah, did you? Oh, cool. Keep going with it. Keep practicing it. You'll get stronger. Let's do a couple more of these. I want to treat these a little bit more like a workout and not just me talking to you. Go for it. And have a little drink. Losing the creak on the way up is normal. Like that would happen to me. I'd be like, ah, or I'm so used to doing it, I hold on to it. But I go into like falsetto. That ah, you don't want to go into all falsetto. You know, talk it up here like Mickey Mouse. Hey, I own all the media. You'll never escape me. You don't want to talk like that. Don't own all the media. Be you know, nice to people, and you can be a cartoon mouse if you want, but probably shouldn't speak in your falsettos. That sounds a little weird, especially if you're a girl. You want to be read as a girl. Talking like this isn't gonna do it. You're gonna sound like a cartoon. So that falsetto, when you go ah, that's not right. You want that, and you just gotta hold on to that tightness. Ah. I was releasing into breath because we've been doing it so much. I let go of my tightness. It takes practice. It's going to have to practice clenching these muscles. What's this here? The door creak is air going out or in. Yeah, it's out. Katsune's got it right. We're going out. I know there are people who can do some incredible stuff with their voice when they're going in. I always go out because we're speaking, right? We're not doing circular breathing here. This isn't didgeridoo class. Not there's anything wrong with didgeridoos. They're great. Fine instrument. But our voice is a different instrument. We want to be going not releasing too much air though. That's the nice difference between this. Like when we go it's easy to lose our air by the end, right? But with the we actually still have plenty of air to spare. The difference is we just have to release that tightness. That's all. If you're having difficulty holding on to the tightness, a really good one to practice is the static R sound. We didn't do the other R sound. We're not going to worry about it too much because I don't want to dwell on these basic exercises. You can look at it in other videos I've done. But the static R sound is where we're holding a clenched R sound. More like an R sound. It's tight in here. You're clenching. Here, I'll give you an example. Try that out. Tight. Tighten your diaphragm too. Like when I used to be a martial arts instructor also, we do the ki, that's tighten up. Tighten up. Same idea. You go. Clench. Have a little water. Everyone feeling okay? Your throat's feeling okay? It's not hurting too much? You're working just the right amount? It's okay if it hurts a little bit, because that means you're working. But I don't want anybody to strain themselves. Maybe just massage your throat a bit. Take a few breaths in and out. Adjust your posture. Posture is very important for voice training. I'm sitting down, which is good. Sitting down's good for this, but don't like be all slouched back and stuff. It's going to be really hard to do anything with your voice. Back when I was first training my voice, you know, I was reaching a level where I was basically making a voice I liked. It wasn't as developed as my voice is today, but I was doing okay. I got gendered correctly in public. But that was only so long as I was sitting or standing. If I was lying down or doing anything weird, I couldn't speak. My muscles didn't know how to do it. It takes all these muscles in here to speak. And if your muscles are all crunched up and you're in a weird position, you're not going to be able to speak the way you want to speak necessarily. So try to maintain good posture while you're doing something new. As you get better at this stuff, then you'll be able to do it in any old position. But you want to set yourself up for success during these lessons. So try to sit in a good position. Try to be comfortable. I got a blanket on my legs. I'm warm. I got stuff to drink. I got a scented candle. Be nice to yourself. You deserve it. And it's going to help your training. So I want to do one more thing with this tight, creaky stuff before we start moving into specifically what I want to work on today. And that's going up in pitch on these. Remember, we were going the moving it up. We're going to do that with an So it's going to go and This one's a lot harder to get into your nose like that. It's going to be pure throat workout. Try that out. Just go as far as you can. You can't go as high as you necessarily can on most of these. Stop if you get into that falsetto or if your throat is hurting too much. Oh, sweet. Shout out to Nightwish, Black Rose. Yeah, I love Nightwish. I grew up listening to that. I think honestly that their original singer, she really inspired me back in the good old egg days. Okay, our sounds is what we just did. So we're doing this creaky door stuff. That's the secret to high notes, in my opinion. A lot of girls, when they try and hit the high note, they go into the falsetto, or they just try and go higher, and that's not necessarily it. We're not trying to go higher in pitch. We're kind of trying to tighten up and squeak. It's like a violin sound. You need that quality of sound that isn't hollow the way a falsetto sound is. It's this I'm not the best at going the highest. Like, of course, lots of people have higher pitched voices than I can handle. I get by. I do well. And when I go high, for the most part, it maintains a pretty reasonable quality. The voice is more or less natural, I think, and that's getting tight up here. And I can make this sound, this tight sound in any sound I'm doing. So any vowel sound, any word I'm saying, I'm able to squeak on just about anything. And that's how I'm able to put emphasis on things, by going higher and squeaking as I go higher. And so in the interest of that, I want to practice doing some of the squeaking sound on some other sounds rather than just going or ah. We're going to go say, well, we'll start with because that's usually the first vowel sound we do together. We're just going to try this. Your turn. Try it. Good, right? We've already done that one. Easy. Okay, cool. Let's go. A. Can you do it? Can you say A? We'll do a few of these, don't worry. Next one we're going to do is E. Try and start in here and get it up into your nose. Tight, tight, tight. Squeak, squeak, squeak the whole way through. Good. Next we're going to do I. Try it out. Get into that squeak. Tight, tight, tight. And next one is O. Have a little water. Good stuff, good stuff. Let's try these again. We're gonna go Good. A. E. I. Whew, that's a little hard on the throat, eh? Have a little water. Or coffee. How's your throat feeling? Is it a little raw by now? Even mine's a little bit raw doing this. This is work, because also the better you get at this, the harder you can clench. So you can make this a workout. This is kind of like in isometric training, you know, that tighten, you're using your own muscles to work something, you're clenching, like bodybuilding. When a bodybuilder lifts a weight, they're not just lifting the weight, they're squeezing. They want that bicep to get bigger, they squeeze that bicep as they move it. Same with this. A. E. I. Whew. Do you want to try them in sequence? A, E, I, O. Try it out. E. How was it? Nothing wrong with Monster. Monster's a solid drink. I mean, I haven't drank an energy drink in years, but I used to live on them. Okay. Hope your throats aren't feeling too worked out by that, going up. Do you want to try going down? We were doing it before with the basic. Let's try it with this. So we're going to go, ah, ah. Easy peasy, right? We just did that before. And even if you're not fully there, don't worry. It's just good training. You're going to get stronger doing this. Next, we're going, a. That one's really going to settle into the A down here. E. I. Remember to try and start and get into the and back down to Well, we just did I, right? Yeah, so we're doing O. Oh. Try it out. So that's pretty good, right? You're tightening, you're squeezing. Hopefully you're getting stronger doing this. But what about releasing? We did before the Do you think you're capable of doing that on vowel sounds? I don't want to torture you. Let's take a short break from the tight stuff and just talk about loose stuff for a little bit. Let's do those vowel sounds, but in a pure breathy voice. If you haven't done any training with me before, don't worry too much. If you have done training with me before, you know about the breathy voice, that soft, gentle, airy. Hand up, you want to feel that air on your hand. And when we breathe out our ah sound, we're going to give it a bit of an H, so it's ha. And we're going to feel the air pushing with our diaphragm. Try it. Feeling that air in your hand? Good. Next we're going to go A. Hey. Good. Hey. Hi. Ho. Ha, hey, he, hi, ho. Have a little water. I'll go again, and then we will do another round together, and then we're gonna do them all in sequence, and then we'll do something else. So, ha, hey, he, hi, ho. Good. Have a little water. Let's try doing them in sequence. So I'll do them all, and then you can try doing them all. And take a breath in between each one. I'll show you. Coffee ground. Ha, hey, he, hi, ho. Whew. I'm gonna need some water while you do this one. How's that? Get some water of your own if you haven't yet. Feeling lightheaded at all from it? Take a few deep breaths in and out. Get those shoulders relaxed. Push with your diaphragm. A lot of the sounds we're making right now might not seem that much like, speaking. Might not seem like a girl voice even. It's just a bunch of weird stuff we're doing. But these are the skills that will build up your physical abilities to be able to speak the way you want to. What we seek is control over our voices. And the first step to getting that control is just learning to manipulate our voice at the very basic level. And these two polar, I hesitate to say, but kind of binary options of pinchy, breathy, Luckily, just like the gender binary, the pinchy breathy binary is one that's fluid and kind of non-existent. It's an interplay. All voices have an interplay between pinchy and breathy, but by learning to manipulate our voice at that basic level of pinchy and breathy, then we can figure out where we want to go with that. So, in the interest of this interplay, let's go to tightening, going up, and then releasing into breath like we did before. We'll start with the ah sound like we did before, and it's just going to go like this. Ah, ah. Try it. Now we're going to do a. And just settle into that breath. E. Ooh, E's hard. I. Mm-hmm. Oh. Good stuff. Have a little drink. Take a few breaths in and out. It is normal, TC Hutchett, to get a little dizzy and out of breath doing this stuff. If ever you're feeling that doing this, take a little break, have a little water, take a few breaths in and out. And you can always stop too. We've done a pretty good workout so far. If this is your limit, that's okay. You can do more later. The point is consistency over intensity, I find. At a certain point, it's important to push yourself and to challenge yourself and to do things you didn't think you could do. But it's more important that you train regularly than really hard a little bit every once in a while, you know? If you practice just like 20 minutes every day, that's great. You're ahead of the game. You're going to make progress doing that for sure. If you can practice an hour every day, that's even better, but just make sure you're not burning yourself out. And of course, at this early phase of training, I don't recommend practicing for more than an hour at a time. It's really easy to hurt yourself and burn yourself out. So try not to do that. Yes, eventually you have to be able to do it for longer because that's how we get stronger, right? This is our voice. This is something we're trying to speak with. So eventually you're going to have to be using it for longer. But for now, don't stress about it. If you can only do a little bit, that's fine. Let's try one more round of this tight up and down, and then we'll move on. So listen to me again here. We're going to go, ah, ah. And hopefully with that bit of a break we had, you'll be feeling nice and fresh and loose. Is it good? You okay with that? Let's try A. A. Thanks for the follow. For some reason, it's not giving me the notifications I used to have. E. I. Last one. Oh. Good. Have a little more water. Take a few breaths. How's your throat doing? Hey, thanks for the sub, Black Rose. I got that notification. All right. The other thing I want to do, one more thing I want to do, and then we can open it up to some questions, is trying to apply these sounds to words. It's going to be hard at first, but I want to try it. So there's a little mantra I was taught in my voice training that I usually work with my students, and it simply goes, this is the voice I want to use. 8 words, that's important. 4 and 4 is equal. Hold on to that. We're going to get to that in another lesson. But this is the voice I want to use. Is simple, it's affirming, and we can do these sounds we've been doing this whole lesson in that. The ah can become this is that
voice. I want to use.
Whew. Try it out. This is the voice I want to use. Have a little water if you're done. Take a few breaths. Hopefully your throat isn't too tired at this point. I'm going to do another round of this. We're going to do a few of these. I'm going to make this a bit of a workout, right? So we're going to go.
This is the voice I want to use.
Move that tension up into your nose. Tight, 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 tight. This is the voice I want to use. We all good in the hood? Did you get it done? Good stuff. Let's do one more of these.
This is the voice I want to use.
Whew. Last one. You can do it. Keep it tight. Get that squeak. Don't go into falsetto if you can avoid it. Good stuff. Have some water. Take a few breaths. Now, I'd like to open it up to a little bit of question time. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go step out. I really got to pee all of a sudden. Probably all that coffee I've been drinking during this lesson. Type out anyone that has any questions based on stuff we've done today, stuff you've worked on in the past, just things you have going on with your voice that you're confused by or want feedback on. Type out a question. I'm going to take a few minutes to see if I can answer some of them. Sound good? And also, if you don't have a question, go pee for a sec. Let's go. It's okay if there are no questions. I just realized for all the previous episodes I've done, I haven't opened up time for question period, and it's been a few times now. You know, this is what, I think the 5th lesson I've done publicly. I figured at this point somebody's got to have a question. While I wait for people to figure out if they have a question or not, I can talk a little bit about this stuff I was saying at the beginning. Finding your voice, figuring out what kind of voice you want to have, who you are as a person. Think about, are you hard? Are you soft? Do you want to convey to the world that you are, you know, tough, that you are gentle? Are you younger? Are you older? Are you a professional? Are you in charge of anything? Are you a parent? Are you a teacher? What's a voice that conveys that? What would be a voice that would make you feel like yourself? Because I know for me, there was a lot of internalized trans misogyny and transphobia that I had built up in me when I first started transitioning that led me to work as hard on my voice as I did. But developing my voice helped me feel like myself. Having a voice that reflects who I am as a person really helped me. So I find when it comes to voice training, it really helps for the student to have an idea of who they are and who they want to be and how they can reflect that in their voice. So think about that as you do this training and as you move ahead, and that's going to help guide you in what you do next. Any questions here? Asthma and sleep apnea. I know I'm just working my way backwards through the questions. Asthma and sleep apnea, I've not heard of. I know some people with sleep apnea, but nobody I've trained has had sleep apnea. I'm not sure about sleep apnea. Asthma could affect it, though. Breath, what's the word? capacity really matters. I used to do a lot of cardio, and I think that really helped me. So I think if you have asthma, that might affect your ability to do the breathy. Mainly just don't do anything that's going to make you pass out. If you find you're having, your throat closing up or you're having trouble breathing, obviously stop for a little bit. Do whatever it is you need to do to recover from that. But you should be able to do stuff with your voice even still. It is normal, Sandrock, to not be able to go as high as me. I've been doing this for 5 years now, and I trained really hard at it. And I also, even before the 5 years of training, I spent my life doing lots of goofy voices and stuff. I was kind of the class clown, and I realized I have a lot of a background that a lot of people might not have in voice training. Like, my mom's an opera singer. Like, I think it's kind of in me to be working with my voice. I was a karate instructor for many years. Like, I know how to project my voice, how to breathe with my diaphragm, and do all these things. So I kind of had a leg up starting in this. And then on top of that, I worked really hard at it and have been doing that for 5 years. So yeah, don't worry if you can't go as high as me. You'll get there. I've got a lot of students that have gotten pretty high up in their pitch. I've met people who have higher pitch than me too, so you can get there. Oh yeah, in terms of the amount of time to do lessons, or appropriate amount to do lessons, or how often, yeah, like I said before, every day is great if you can, but regularly is the more important thing. Today, I feel like I didn't give you a huge amount of time for each exercise we did. So I'm trying to keep things moving a little bit. You can hold exercises for longer or shorter. Just like a second or two to 5 seconds till you run out of breath. All these things will affect it. And there's advantages and disadvantages. There's no one right or wrong way to do it. My suggestion is to vary it up. I always do lots of different things in everything. When I worked out, and I used to do powerlifting and martial arts and all that stuff, I would change my workout literally every day. I never did the same workout twice. I do the same basic ideas, I had the same goals, but I always did something new every time. And then that translated over into my voice training. I'd always do a slightly different workout every single time. And do that in my life, in my art. I always try and do something new. Every comic I put out, I try and do one new thing that I've never done before in a comic. Maybe no one else notices it, but I know I've never done that before. And so try things. Hold an exercise for longer. Do it short and quick. And we will do that in these sessions. The more videos that go up, the more variations I'll introduce to these exercises to you, and then you can use that in your training. Is there any questions I missed? No? Anything? Any more? Yeah. If you have a question in future, you can leave it in a comment on YouTube, on the YouTube video. You can ask me on my Discord. Are you part of my Discord? If you support me on Patreon, you totally get to be on my Discord. So if there's anybody here who's a supporter of mine on Patreon and you're not in my Discord, send me a message. I'll get you a link. You can join the Discord. And if you want to join the Discord, you could sign up to support me on Patreon. That's always an idea. There's been a lot of people who've signed up to support my work purely on voice alone. They're not, maybe they read my comics, I don't know. But I've had a lot of people say, hey, I want to support you on Patreon because I like your voice lessons. And if you do that, you get to be on the Discord, and then you can talk to me directly. We're setting up a voice channel to speak in, and then people can get live feedback from me. I want to set aside a bit of time to do live feedback sessions with people. So maybe consider supporting me on Patreon and join that Discord. Speaking of being a awkward shill, toss a coin to your voice coach if you can. I do this for free, and it will always be for free because I want everybody to have access to this resource. But I could always use a bit of money as an artist. That's how we make our money, here and there, every little thing we do. So if you want to tip me for today's lesson, that's always appreciated, but never required. I'm just happy you're here and you're training and you're working hard. You can also throw a Twitch sub my way. I got a Twitch Prime sub just a little bit back. If you have Twitch Prime or Amazon Prime, you can give me a sub. It doesn't cost you anything, and I get a little bit of money. That's a way to toss a coin to your voice coach too. But honestly, I'm mostly just happy if people are training and engaging with this. Oh, is that a question here? Super harsh vocals. Scared of outing yourself at the time. I feel like there's more to this question. But I'm gonna meander and ramble while it goes. Oh, will affect my voice now. Yes, but it might actually have made your voice stronger also. I don't know what degree you've, you know, to what degree you've hurt your voice or anything like that, how much you pushed it, but you may be stronger because of that training. Like I used to do the ki, so I did my ki early. I had to teach myself to do that. My ki before, I don't know if I can still do it, but it was like deep. That was honestly, it was deeper before. It was like thunderbolt before. I can't really speak low anymore, but I used to do a lot of deep booming stuff. So as long as you didn't hurt yourself, like did permanent damage to your voice, and now you can't speak without it being all raspy or something. I don't know what extent you'd have with that. There's a good chance it actually made your voice stronger. You've probably increased the strength in their wing. Oh, wah! I don't know. I know that's not neither Rob Zombie nor Lemmy Kilmeister. Cool name, Lemmy Kilmeister. Yeah, I know it's neither of those guys, but this kind of it's probably could be hard on you, but it could be strengthening in here as well. Just like the if you watched the previous episode, which was aired originally a few weeks back, it talks all about playing around with your voice. I highly recommend you play around with your voice. I am a robot. You know, stuff like that.
You can talk up here in your nose.
You can talk really soft and light. Do stuff. Play with it. Don't just think of voice training as the sessions you do with me or on your own for an hour. Think of voice training as something you do all the time. I think that basically wraps it up. I feel like I've said my piece for the day. We're doing okay here. You can hear me here, right? There's been times I've pulled up this panel. I realized I didn't have a mic set up on it, so yeah. Gonna be able to hear me. So, thanks for training this week. Try to keep practicing. Don't train for more than an hour at a time. Always drink plenty of water. And I'll see you next week. Thanks so much, everybody. Hey, thanks for the cheers. Anonymous cheer. Been cheering a lot. I mean, I assume that's multiple people, but still. Oh, what is this voice software? We're here. Voice software. I've not, you know what, honestly, I haven't worked with any. I always worked with videos and then coaches and on my own. So I actually don't have an opinion on most software that is available. But I have heard good things from certain software that certain people have thrown my way. So apparently there's good stuff out there. But it's really what matters is the work you put into it. That's why I stress, keep practicing. Try to practice every day if you can. Regardless of what you're using to practice, that's how you're going to make progress, is the actual practice. All right, I'll see you next week. Thanks so much for joining me, and have a great night. Bye.